are back with another episode of Lunch with a Lawyer Live, and today's guests are very, very, very special. I mean, it's not every day that you have a former professional soccer or football player in this case. And I'm going to try to give an introduction, but the man has been through so much that it's just going to be impossible to put it all in a few sentences. I know he's even got a book out about his life, and most people think it's amazing. I need to order it and read it. Lutz Pfannenstiel, did I pronounce that right? He is like the first player that has belonged to a pro football club in each of the 6 recognized continental associations. TV expert for, I think, like 8 years for CNN, BBC, CDF in Germany, and the current sporting director for St. Louis City FC. And next to him is Elvir Kafedzic. We know him as Fufi, but the fact is that he doesn't need a whole lot of an introduction. Our very own soccer master here in St. Louis, who is growing our youth into pros with the St. Louis Dragons right now, and doing it together with St. Louis City SC, a Major League Soccer expansion franchise that is expected to start playing in 2023. I hope I didn't miss anything. So, Lutz, tell us a little bit about yourself, my friend. How did your world traveler journey bring you to St. Louis?
Yeah, a good question in the start. I think it's a really special project. I decided to leave Fortuna Düsseldorf by the end of the season, and there was a few options to stay in Europe at really big clubs like in the Premier League or also in the Serie A. But the project here, the vision of the owners, the whole view into the future, what you can do here, and really building a club from scratch, it really caught my attention. I think it's something similar what we did in Hoffenheim before for many, many years. And also doing a bit of my research, looking at the rich history of soccer here in St. Louis. I think that's what really caught my eye. And I made the decision to swim over the big pond, bring the family, and try to build something special here.
That is amazing, and St. Louis definitely is a soccer town. So what have you found so far when it comes to getting the community engaged? How receptive have they been about soccer here in St. Louis?
Yeah, I mean, the first impression, really positive. We did lots of, getting used to the football here, watching lots of high school games, watching as much football as possible, also on TV, but what was possible here. I mean, before I came out, of course, I did the usual thing. I got in touch with Vedad Ibisevic, which I had as my own player in Hoffenheim for many years. I knew that his parents are still in St. Louis, so he was one of the first guys to catch up with him and speak with him about St. Louis, about the city, about the culture, about the football, about how is it to live here. And he played a major role that I made the decision to come over here. And he was also the guy who brought me in touch immediately with Fufi next to me. The important part there was for me that actually Vedad, he was very much excited to hear that there is an MLS franchise coming here. So I think he was very much encouraging me as well to come here. He told me about the big Bosnian community. He told me about the talented players here. So actually, Fufi was one of the first guys when I came here to get in touch. We met in Krivic in the restaurant. We had some nice Bosnian food, and that's where we made the plans. What will be the next steps? And yeah, I mean, football is big here, so we do want that community engagement. It's not just the Bosnian community. There's also lots of other communities which we have to look into it. But we do have a big focus on the Bosnian community. Simple as that. We have the unique chance, and I would say the privilege, that pay-to-play system, we can have it different. We can actually have I say it again, the privilege to offer free education when it comes to football here. Or soccer, let's keep it with soccer, otherwise you're confusing people. Soccer here. And in Bosnia, football is the game number one. I think also here in the Bosnian community. So that is where we really trying to get the Bosnian community engaged to be part of the club. I went down to the Dragons. I spoke to the parents. I spoke to the kids a long time ago in the summer, and I felt a very welcoming feeling there. And I think it's our duty to get the Bosnian community as much as possible involved. And I really hope that we will have. There will be not just Elvir and Vedat as two pros. There will be a few more young Bosnians coming through and actually represent the city at highest level in the MLS in future.
I think that's what most Bosnian American dads really want, to have their sons, play against Messi or one of those top players. But let's touch upon that, because you just touched a topic that I've talked to a lot of soccer enthusiasts in the St. Louis area, and the pay-for-play scheme, let's call it that way. A lot of people think, hey, in order for your kid to kind of be pushed through, you have to have some money. But I think you guys are approaching this differently. I think you're looking at it like, hey, if there is some potential in this kid, you're going to help this kid out and push him through. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's simple. I mean, that's our social responsibility. It's our duty to make that happen. I think for me as a European I played everywhere as a professional player, but being now for the last 10 years in Germany in the Bundesliga, I think there was also something for me pretty new to learn, that you do have a certain financial background to be able to play at the highest academy level in the United States and in Canada, and usually in Europe. Everybody can play football. So I think we need to have that inclusion and that diversity in our academy setup. It's I would say that's one of our golden rules, one of our main rules, which was also one of the first things I discussed with the ownership when we started to talk about St. Louis. I really love that idea to be different, to open football and soccer up for everybody who wants to be involved. And to be fair, it's a long process, I mean, there is good academies here in St. Louis that did some great work in the past. There is lots of talented players coming out from there. But I think we need to now also looking into a different direction, open it up a little bit more for everybody else. It should be all together. So we want to have the existing communities, also the existing academies, the existing clubs, the high schools. We want really everybody who is interested in the game of soccer. We want to be involved. And we don't want to work against anybody. We literally want to work with everybody in a really hand-in-hand, in a togetherness. I really think the soccer needs to be seen as a big, loving family, like trying to work for our aims and work together and trying to get as many homegrown players through our system. But our whole structure is built on three pillars, which is the community, which is the academy, and which is the professional team. And I think the basis, the foundation, the most important part, not for the short term, but for the really long term, is our community approach, and make the game of soccer as attractive for everybody who is out there. And we want to go into the African American community. We want to go into the Hispanic community. We want to really be open for everybody and have a really diverse setup in the community area, but also in the academy area. That's our big goal. And as St. Louis is known to be as little Bosnia, the biggest Bosnian community outside Bosnia. I think it's a beautiful thing to get as many Bosnians, parents as well as the grandparents and of course the kids all to the field to enjoy the beautiful game together.
To touch upon the youth, Elvir, I know you're doing an amazing job with the St. Louis Dragons, and there are so many. And my little one can't wait to join you guys, by the way. But for this COVID situation, he would have joined you a long time ago. Both of you, this question is, what do you tell these kids? Like, what does it take to succeed if you've got the drive to become a professional soccer player?
I take it?
Yeah.
I mean, Lutz and some of my other colleagues here from the club, like you already mentioned, they came out to St. Louis Dragons, and they watched a couple of our practice sessions. We also had an event up at the Slicer complex in St. Charles, and where they were able to see a lot of talented players there, and And the first age group for the first academy team that we are actually going to have for the St. Louis City SC will be the 2005 age group, and just during that one session that we had up there, Lutz was able already to see a few really talented players, that will be able to come, try out and hopefully can make it. So, but we will also like to use this opportunity, as Lutz said earlier, that in the last few months we've been out for a lot of high school games, a lot of tournaments, a lot of practice sessions, because the 2005 we were looking at a lot of 2005 players, but obviously we cannot make it out to every single one of the games, to the practice or tournaments. So if you know of any 2005 players that are really good and that they think they can take their game to the next level, please feel free to contact us, and we will make our best, effort to come out, look at one of their games, look at one of their practice sessions, and then if you like what we see, we will definitely give them an invite to one of the tryouts.
And one thing that I've noticed, Lutz, when I first moved to the United States back in 1999, was the fact that soccer in Europe is mostly club-based for the youth. But you come to the United States, less club, more high school systems. How is that? How does that make it easier or more difficult in your guys' job to find the new kids on the block?
It's a cultural thing. So, yes, in Europe, it's school soccer doesn't really exist. So here is something also which makes the players, makes the school, makes the parents proud. And that's something we need to also look in a very positive way. I mean, we saw some really good high school games here in the area. If you're looking at the Missouri high schools, also nationwide, they're always playing traditionally a very, very good role. And you do have academies who are playing the whole year round. Unfortunately, the high schools only playing for a shorter term of the year. And that is something where, of course, we would like to give that players we've seen an opportunity to be all around involved in our academy system. But, I'm always talking about a holistic approach, and education is just as important as football. So it's not football or, I think it's football and, which we really need to concentrate on. And the educational part, the schooling, is an unbelievable important part. So how I see actually our development system through the community and through the academy is very simple. We always have to have a plan B. And let's be honest, I'm talking now about one of the top European academies like in Hoffenheim, around 5 players of that system becoming professional players. And that's an extremely high number. In normal clubs, it's 2%, 3%, in some clubs even less than 1%. So that's the reality about young academy players who make it professional. So let's be positive and say we really come out at around 5%. There is still 95% of the kids who don't make it, and that's a big number. And that's, again, our responsibility as a club. When we do speak to the parents, when we do speak to the players, when we also speak to the high school coaches and to the academy coaches from the other clubs, we need to have a plan B in place. So what is if the kid doesn't make it? He just should not have football in his head. He also needs to have a different orientation. And that is where we right now making really good connections with high schools. We're making really good connections with some of the universities. And I believe in a very transparent system. If we do realize that a player is not there yet with the level, we always have an opportunity to let him go out and come back in later, but still look at his education. So that back and forth switch between high schools and our club or universities, that's still a possibility. And I believe that transparency is really important for parents to actually see that we not just care about creating a better player or a better athlete. We want to create characters. We want to create leaders. We want to have well-rounded people who go through our academy. And that is what is our main focus for the ownership, but also for all the people I'm working here with. Everybody really is in the same, I would call it on the same page. That's how we want to go forward. And as I said, it's very, very difficult only to focus on one thing. Only a small percentage is fortunate enough to make it as a pro, but we need to see the bigger picture. And that's also our club responsibility. And that's how we are very different from lots of the other professional clubs all over the world.
I like the way you put it because, I mean, all of us have known players that you're like, how did they not make it? But then when you look at the global level, as you just mentioned, only a very, very small percentage of them make it pro because there's only so many places at the pro level, right? Let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk a bit more about the progress of STL City um, um, FC because the timeline is to start playing 2023. Where's the club now? What are you guys working on the most, and how can we get involved?
Yeah, I mentioned before, we have the three pillars, community, academy, and the first team. So I would put it simple that the community is a long-term goal. I talk about 6, 8, 10 years till you really can, pull the first players through that system, but it needs to be funded now. It needs to be in a really, really good level now that we have an exact plan of actions we want to pull through. That community system will go on forever in a very, very high level. The second part, of course, is the academy. And the academy, we are starting actually this year, 2021, with our first academy teams. So we will are now right now in the selection process, in the scouting process. So we will have open trials as well coming in very, very soon. February, March. Everybody who believes he can make it in the age group of 2005 should come there. It doesn't matter if you're a football fan, if you a great football player, if you're an athlete, if you never played football before, but you think you can do it, just come by, show your tricks, and maybe you're a fortunate one who goes through into the system, because I believe we should give that opportunity to everybody out there. So come by, watch it, and as more kids, as more players showing up, as better it is for us. I think it's also an engagement to the families, to the fans, get some closeness actually to the club. So that is where we are right now. And then we will have in September 2021, and I always be careful with any prognosis because of the COVID situation. But let's hope that everything will be halfway okay by then. We will play our first under-17 MLS Next competition team in September, which is a nationwide top-level competition. And we will also have an under-16 team getting developed out of that. So basically by the end of 2021, we will have 2 teams on the field. When 2022 arrives, we will have our development squad starting to play. The development squad is our reserve team, our under 18 up to our under 23. So the top young talent we should feed into the pro team. They will play the MLS Next competition as well. And in the course of the year 2022, we will also introduce the under 14 and under 15. So meaning by the end of 2022, we will have 5 teams, under 14, under 15, under 16, under 17. That's the 4 youth teams. We have our development squad, which is the reserve team basically, or the team which should feed into the pro team. And then in early 2023, the pro team will also start officially practicing and training. So that puts it to 6 teams in total, which we will have on the field. You will ask the question, so what's happening to the teams below, under 13 and younger? Another special approach we will have, because we want to work in their age groups purely with the community. So we will send our coaches out to work with the local coaches. But I'm a strong believer that we should not take the kids too early out from the system, from the families, from their friends. No, they're still learning the game. They need to create the passion. And if you put that professional goal too early into their minds, they lose the fun. And we need to have fun, enjoyment, spending time with your friends, being out there and move, trying to realize what sport you really like. That's the age group up from under 7 up to under 13, where we will have our satellite locations all over the city and also in the county. So Elvir can give you a little bit more feedback what we will do down in the south of the city, where we will be present, we will work with coaches, we will work with players. So we will work a lot in the community and then really focus only from the under 14 onwards.
Yeah, so I think actually our first satellite location will be Bayless High School. We already talked to them, and that's as you well know, Nedim, that's a great location for the Bosnian community. So with this whole community clinics, we will have maybe once or twice a month, where all of our coaches will come out, and it will be a free of charge community clinic, community soccer clinic held by all of our coaches, and anybody will be able to sign up for it. As Lutz was saying, girls or boys, from ages to like 5 to like 13, So we want everybody there, and you never know. Maybe we'll find really some talented players there. So.
And to add on that as well, not just players, all the coaches. So I watched a lot of academy and football for youngsters now. So there is lots of volunteer coaches. There is lots of parent coaches, and they're doing a great job because they're spending their time. But we're trying to support them and help them with the proper language. It's a bit of a crash course on coaching, but really coach the coaches. Focus on that is a big part we want to do in the community. Make the coaches better. That means we make the players better. That means we make the soccer better. It's a very, very simple numbers calculation we will do here. So that is a big focus we will have on. And having said that, we talk a lot about developing our own players, homegrown players who come through our system. We also want to develop our own coaches. And Elvir is a very, very good example. Like, he's a local coach who puts a lot of time, effort, and passion into the game down there with the St. Louis Dragons. So I see in Elvir a very talented coach who he should not stop now being our community coach. He will also get developed, and his goal must be to be a part of the development system. And I always say the sky is the limit. So we will go also for local coaches who are willing, who want to improve, who want to learn the game, who want to go to the next level. That's another thing we really want to focus on. So when I talk about development and academy structures, it's not just developing players, it's also developing coaches. And we will give young, talented, willing local coaches a good opportunity to go step by step up the ladder.
Thank you for that answer, guys, because I think you've really kind of put it to our viewers to explain how it's not just about the pro soccer team and pros playing on TV, but how it really encompasses the whole community, and it's going to lift everybody up together. One thing while we were talking, this is kind of like two questions in one. When is the stadium expected to be completed? How has COVID kind of thrown you guys' planning off?
I think so far we are quite lucky that we are not really falling behind in the building of the stadium, but also of the training ground south of Market. So we are like in a very good way there right now. I can't tell you the exact date when it will be finished, but it will be definitely finished early enough that we will be able to play our games for sure, but also that we have our training center early enough ready where the pro team as well as the academy, some of the academy teams will be able to train. Talking about the facilities, I think again we are very, very fortunate that we have great owners, put a lot of thought into that, engaging everybody into the game of soccer. So building a beautiful top-class stadium down there, having right next to it a very modern top trainings ground. I think you can't have a better showcase for everybody to be involved. Everybody wants to be down there. Being very central in the city, I think, is a clear message as well. We want you guys there. We want you to be part of it. Doesn't matter where you're from. We meet in the center and have a nice party on the soccer field. I think that's the message which is out there. And as I mentioned, the infrastructure is a very important part. I think we also will be a front runner there to have a great modern facility, really meant to give the players, doesn't matter if pro or academy players, a great opportunity to enjoy every day of the game and improve and get better. So it all goes well. I think we're on the right track there. And let's hope that we just be able to keep on going just in the same pace and with the same way we moved the last few months.
Very nice, very nice. So how can, and this doesn't apply just to the Bosnian American community, but I'm going to ask it in the name of the Bosnian American community. And this is one of those ask not what your soccer club can do for you, but ask what you can do for the soccer club sort of question is, how can the Bosnian community help? How can they get more involved? And as I said, any other communities that would like to get involved with St. Louis City FC, what's the best way to do so?
Well, I think you can say, we have a real open door policy, so we can be contacted anytime. I mean, we want to get as many people engaged and involved as possible. I think Fufi can tell you a little bit more about that, because like that's at the moment one of his things. He really doing a great job. I think we have already like a big fan base and a big supporter base when it comes to the Bosnian American community. We saw that in recent weeks again, and I think Elvir can give us a bit more details there.
Yeah, I mean, Nedim, you will agree with me here that I mean, it's just in our culture, it's just in our DNA. We just have the passion for this sport. And ever since we started arriving here, like in the mid to late 90s, I mean, yes, we do have some other great sports teams here with the Cardinals, with the Blues, but we just don't have the same passion for it as we do for soccer. So like Lutz said, having the stadium down there in downtown, and being able to go on the weekends, supporting your team, it's just going to be an amazing feeling. And that's why we need the whole Bosnian community to get behind this whole project and just support it all the way, And I honestly feel like we have an amazing opportunity to make St. Louis City SC like the best club that MLS has ever seen.
I tend to agree with that assessment. I think St. Louis was really missing a soccer team, because even back in the day, they used to have it, but it never took off. I think football soccer has really taken off here in the United States, and I think it's just going to get better. And I think St. Louis is a prime location, was a prime location for a while now for an expansion team to be playing here. So I think there's great opportunity, and myself, and I'm hoping the Bosnian community, and I think the whole St. Louis community wishes for this team to succeed. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck, both of you. I think so far you're doing an amazing job. I can see St. Louis City FC anywhere I go. So when it comes to that, you're doing a great job. You've just explained to our community how it's going to lift everybody, not just the pro soccer players. But I've talked a lot now. You guys have said a lot. But is there anything that you would like to add today that I have not asked you that you guys think the community should know more about St. Louis City FC?
I think just stay, like I said, just stay tuned for the community events that we're going to be having really, really soon here, especially for the soccer clinics, that's going to happen within the next couple of weeks, talking just about the Bosnian community that's going to happen at BLS High School. And stay tuned for more information. Everybody that loves to play soccer will be able to sign up for that. And we can't wait to see you all out there.
Yeah, it's two more years, 21, 22, time will fly. A lot to plan, a lot to organize, a lot of foundation work to be done right now. But I think everybody can't really wait till 2023 to arrive to play that first game down there in that top-class stadium. So I think that's what everybody's waiting for. But for me, as in charge of the sporting operations, I believe that, yes, it's a great time for the fans to dream and looking forward for that day. But we in the sporting department, we have a lot of work to do before that. So I think we need all the support we can get from you guys out there. And we will put all the effort in we can. And I'm very positive that we will not just have a great academy system, but we also will have a good first team, which is really competitive and will make St. Louis into a place where other teams will hate to travel because they know it will be difficult to win here.
That's exactly what we're hoping for. Well, thank you for that. So where can folks go to find more information about St. Louis City FC? What's the best, I guess, website to go to get more information about this stuff?
Well, the club's main website, of course, then we are always on social media as well, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think the guy's doing a great job. If you see the color city red, then it's us, and it jumps into your eye. Beautiful color. I think another thing which is a very unique part about us, that's the way you want to be seen as well. So everything normal, all the updates, all the new options, I would say the news, you can get every day an update on the social media side.
Splendid. Well, that's all the questions that I had. I want to thank you so much, both of you, for joining me today and talking about St. Louis City FC. Again, wish you all the success in the world, and hopefully pretty soon David Beckham is going to hate for his Miami to show up in St. Louis and get beaten by like 3-0 in a couple of years. That would be very nice. Thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful rest of the day and stay safe out there.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
See you later.